I decided to at least take a break from the France series. We were kind of having complete hegemony. We were like maybe our economy was maybe 10 times larger than the second opponent. So I thought it, and it also showed there were no viewers in the last episodes. So I thought I'd start the new campaign today on the latest patch. As you can see, I've updated to to the latest patch 1.7.5, and of course I have the Sphere of Influence and DLC. I thought also that maybe I could I thought that I could do Russia. So when you start the game, if you want to play with the great game content, you have to go. I used to only go like sandbox mode, so I didn't go for like this egalitarian objective with France. Maybe that could be fun to do the hegemonies and so on. But I will do the great game, so you activate that, the DLC content from that. So the great game, the new century marked the beginning of a long conflict that waged across the largest continent. Through intrigue, warfare, and deft diplomacy, guide Russia and Britain to dominate Asia or lead Afghanistan and Persia on the path to sovereignty. So Great Britain is obviously the hegemon. Like when after the World War in 1919, the British Empire was the largest and most powerful country that ever existed. But the second largest country, it's a country that has, like Russia or the Mongols, or a country that controls all of Siberia and Russia. So they are the second largest country ever. So it's fitting that these two giants will fight each other in this like diplomatic game over the control of Central Asia. So let's read here. Great Britain has roared into the 19th century, rapidly becoming the world's first industrial nation. The massive step is kept afloat by the labor of colonies across the globe. However, King William IV is close to death, and who knows what sort of monarch the next era will usher in. And as we know, Queen Victoria will take over after her dad here. And she will be one of the longest running monarchs in British history. Of course not like Elizabeth II, but one of the longest running monarchs after her. And Russia, let's read. Tsar Nicholas I started his rule by crushing a revolt and now rules Russia in a vice-like grip. He espouses the doctrine of orthodoxy, autocracy, and nationality. Will this authoritarian Russia strive in the 19th century? Will a new, different Russia emerge? So I think it's better to play Russia because Great Britain, they are heavily industrialized, they are a colonizing nation, just like France. However, Great Britain is a little bit more of a democracy, like Britain and Dutch and Belgium. And some countries, they have like a large middle class, and they have like a powerful middle class. It's not like France that was ruled by the landowners, and Russia even more. It's completely ruled by the autocrats, and they. So let's go at Russia. And they still have serfs, and they are like oppressing a lot of different people. And as I said before, Genghis Khan from the Mongol Empire, they started here, maybe this somewhere here, maybe in Buryatia or like in the Siberia, and they conquered all of that, and they left like a huge influence on the Russian people. Like the Mongols was a very, very warlike people, and the Russian people, they say like they raped a lot of women in Russia, and like they spread their DNA throughout Russia. So that has also made Russian a very, very warlike people, much more than the other Europeans, because the Mongols was not here. And the DNA, I kind of believe in biology, so the DNA is like is shaping the nation in some way. And so Russians are not very good at building up the society, like industrializing and like that, but they are very good at warfare. They used like the year is 1836 now, and 20 years ago they defeated Napoleon, and in 100 years they will defeat Hitler. And now 200 years later they are on their way to defeating Zelensky. So they are a warlike a people that's very, very good at warfare. And you can see here at the let's look at the money situation here. They have good we have a total expense of 93.3k, and like almost a third or more than that, maybe half of that is goods for military building and military wages. As you probably know, if you are watching this from a NATO country, I'm from a NATO country, that 2% of GDP is the optimal spending on defense. It's optimal spending on defense, and use the rest of the money to grow the economy. But here we are spending almost, we are spending almost half of the expenses here. If we look at the revenue, if we only look at the revenue, it's not really half. It's maybe one third or so, but it's still like 2% of GDP on defense is enough according to NATO standards. Even if, of course, like 3-4% would also be good, but not like 40% like this. And let's do an overview of the nation before we start playing here. This is our Tsar, Nikolai Romanov. I believe the Romanov family were, I'm not certain, but I believe they were the Tsars until 1917. The Germans in the First World War, the Germans were invading a lot of Russia, and then they sent, or not they sent, but there was a communist revolution by Lenin and Trotsky, so it was like a huge civil war. The Germans were almost in Moscow, like in the Second World War, but then Russia fell apart in a civil war, and that in some way allowed the Germans in the First World War to negotiate a kind of peace, because the Western Entente, France, Great Britain, the Americans, the Italians, the French and the British, all of them had mobilized their huge industrial base. So it was Germany and Russia was probably going to lose the First World War, but because they had defeated the Russians, who got into civil war, they were able to get a peace treaty without losing too much land. So this was the Romanov family, and he is 39, and he's a Russian, of course. He's a traditionalist, so he endorsed the legal guardship and endorsed state religion. He's part of the landowners. They're called the Gentry Assembly here in Russia. It's a special. It has a special name, and they're powerful because they have a lot of clout. And let's look at their traits. I think these are special. If we get this bad boyar, then it gets less authority. That's quite huge. 20% authority is quite huge. And if they are happy like now. They got 20% influence. That's strong. We now influence is very useful now in sphere of influence. And if they would be over 30%, they would get this very powerful ability. 30% aristocrats investment pool contribute. See, that basically means that they have like an investment pool here, like the capitalist, aristocrats, and some others are paying money here to the investment pool, and that would increase because if we look here at the chart here, we can see that almost 1% are aristocrats, and they are like one of those that has pengar to invest into the investment fund. But so there is like almost no capitalists. So capitalists also invest, but we don't have any one of those now really. So let's continue here. Our government is only the landowners, and the intelligentsia are we have less assimilation. Assimilation as you can see here in the laws, it's based on this law, the national supremacy, and it would be kind of nice to go up here. Of course, every goal in this game is to go to multiculti, but it's quite hard. It's a hard law to pass, and lots of interest groups often doesn't like that. You can maybe try to influence this by agitators and so, but as you know, when we played France, they start here at cultural exclusion, and also this is a good step up. So let's see what our law do. Our law, the most important here is this. Cultures will be accepted based on if they share a heritage cultural trait with any primary culture, shares a cultural trait which is not a primary heritage culture in any primary culture. It's quite hard to understand. Let's look at this one. This one only shares a cultural trait with primary culture, and this one was let's see here. So I guess you have to satisfy both of the demands. Sure. I think easiest is probably to look at some population and see if they are being discriminated. For example, here in Masovia, lots would be Polish here. So let's look at the Polish. It's being discriminated in Russia. So the Poles are being discriminated, despite that they, I believe, European heritage and West Slavic. So let's look at the Russians. The Russian are East Slavic and European heritage. So it's both have European heritage, but the Russian is East Slavic and the Poles is West Slavic. So, and they are being discriminated. So that means that the second line here shares a culture which is not heritage cultural trait with any primary cultures. So they does not only need European heritage, they also need to be East Slavic for us to accept them. they same racial segregation and cultural exclusion. It looks like that. So we want to get one of these. When we get one of those, every people that are cultural, of European heritage, like the Poles. What about the Ukrainians? Are they being accepted? Yeah, they are being. They're not being discriminated for. They are an East Slavic culture. The Ukrainian culture is an East Slavic culture. What about the Balkans? The Latvians is discriminated because it's a Baltic culture. Finland. So these are our subjects, like the Grand Duchy of Finland and the Baltic states are our subjects. Let's look at some more cultures. What about here? Here we have a culture called the Bashkiri culture, and it's being discriminated. This one is also of European heritage. So if we could change that, we could. They could also be accepted in our country. What about the Tatars? So the Tatars can never be accepted. They cannot. It's only when we get. It's only when we get multiculti that we can accept these Asian tribes. What about here? Azerbaijan. Armenians are Europeans. What about the Azerbaijans? Azerbaijans are not. Okay, so this is the cultural overview of the country. I guess most of you who watches this is probably from Russia because you used to watch from the country you come from. So let's look at the laws here. We don't have any institutions. We have a monarchy, autocracy, national supremacy, which we would like to change so we can start integrating the European states, because a lot of these states are not incorporated yet. We're using peasant levies. And this one is nasty. It makes basically it gives a lots of negatives. And we can't change it yet because we have not slavery, we have serfdom here at land reform, and this one needs to change before we can change economic to a better economic system. So we want to change serfdom, we want to change the economic system, and we want to change the citizenship laws. We don't have any colonial affairs. We have a special economic affairs here, frontier colonization, which is, I believe this is a special one for Russia. And its colonization is limited to the state connected to the country borders by land. Like France and Britain and so. If you do this one, you cannot colonize Africa. So we would like, because there are the great game is about controlling this region of the world. So here, Turkmenia. There are some places here. Maybe here could be colonized, and I guess Turkmenia it's a decentralized power, which means that we can colonize, and we need a colonial law to colonize Turkmenia. We don't have any police. People they would enjoy our landowner support to get police. So this is a reform we could pass straight away. probably gonna do that. It's typical of Russia. They try to oppress, like it would be good because then we get this institution less radical som standard of living crisis, and I'm going to tax the people quite hard to industrialize this time. You have to do that. Don't have school systems, and these cannot be changed either, I think. Let's see here. We would like to do this one. Yeah, maybe we can do this one. This is not serfdom doesn't prevent that, so this would be good to get schools. Then we can start to get these reforms that we get more education access, and that gives education basically, and we need that to build the factories and get a more educated workforce. Don't have a health system. We would like that also. And yeah, so that's about this one. We are suppressing the intelligence. I don't think we will do that. The reason why we played a bit more careful as France, it was because we had a very nasty modifier. This France, we had a very nasty modifier that increased the radicals, but we don't have it now, so we can do more taxation and so here. So let's look at the budget. They have low. It's weird that the Russians does not have that they don't love liquor, because today it's like vodka. It's like the only thing the Russians that's their favorite drink that they are obsessing by, like France is obsessing about wine. So liquor should definitely, but it's not the case that they are being obsessed by it in this game here. So let's see here. We have consumption taxation of liquor. We would like to tax a lot so we can afford more construction sectors, but it would also be good. Like these taxes are not giving very much because we have such a poor economy already. So in some ways it's better just to build it up here. And let's look at our power block. We are part of the Russian imperialist bloc. Here you can see everyone. We have our rivals is the Empire, Zollverein, that's Prussia. Metternich system is Austria, and Delvet in Allier, it's Turkey. We are bordering free blocks, and we have a block here that we should fight over this region with another block, with the British Empire who controls India. We start with two different principles, vassalization 1 and defensive cooperation. If you watch my France series, you know that I also played as sovereign empire there, and I like that one a lot, to be able to subjugate powers and less liberty desires is in subjects. It was quite, I believe it was quite a useful group. But what I did was that I had this exploitation of members principle. It gave more authority and influence, but it would have been better to do this vassalization, because I think 25 authority, we had, like, if you remember correctly, we had like 100 subjects at the end of the France run, a lot of small countries. Then 100 subjects times 25, that's we would have like 2,500 subject authority from that. So that would have been really strong to go position. I could, there was, I guess it's possible to change. So in that run, I should probably change it over. And we have this, the defensive cooperation treaty, which is so power block members cannot fight each other. That's kind of useful. and then less sway cost, and can call ally sway in defensive diplomatic. Basically, we can call in everyone in our block with this one. This doesn't seem so good to me, but so we can change this one after we've done the others. I saw a tier list published just a few days ago by Generalist Gaming, and he explained some things that I didn't really understand, like just by reading the tooltips. So I think a little bit different now about this group than I did during the France campaign. This one, external trade, it gives here this one 2 influence per trade center, and if you have a lot of trade centers, every trade route gives like a trade center, then that would be a lot of influence. I didn't see that one, so he complained that this is like an S tier production method for the trade center. So this is someone that I just seems like a no-brainer to get. I did get this one, the freedom of movement, and I didn't. This one was great also because of the mass migration arc, and as you remember, we always had like millions of people in every one of our French state, despite we had like 5,000 construction points, like when I stopped that series, and we just couldn't build. We had too much, like so much immigration, like we never had any problems with a lack of people. So this one is definitely super strong, and I would like this one too. But it's only strong if you like, as we did here, we conquered and made a lot of protectorates and colonized a lot of African people and Asian people, and these are very poor people. They love to migrate to France and work there. But as Russia, it's a little bit harder because we don't have the laws for colonizing Africa. So it's a little bit harder for us to pull people. But if we manage to like industrialize Russia, then these people here in Central Asia, those could move to our country. Because remember, you can only assimilate people that are not in their home country. So a Persian living in Persia, they would never assimilate. But a Persian moving to Moscow or St. Petersburg, they will become Russians eventually in this game. So that one is strong. And then Generalist Gaming also explained another one that I didn't understand. It was this one, the colonial office. I thought it was kinda weak actually. But there is one I didn't really understand that. It was this one. Provides colonial affairs with -5 infamy generation against unrecognized powers. I thought it was just 5%. But it's not 5%, it's 5% per institution level. So if you have five levels of this institution, it's 25% less infamy against unrecognized powers. So you basically, because there is also like a tech that makes it easier to conquer from unrecognized powers, from developing powers. So you mainly want to conquer and make protectorates of the global south anyway, and pull those people into your industrialized centers. So this one is definitely a nice one. Then I did this construction thing. It had a good company and it had like nice construction efficiency. It was quite useful, maybe not super useful. And we also did this one, the transportation. It also gave a lot of infrastructure. Remember, infrastructure is something that costs a lot of money. Like railways, because you pay for the railways to get the infrastructure. So it's often better to like build up everything before you need to expand the infrastructure. But this one really helped with the infrastructure. But I'm not so sure if I will do it. If I will do it now, maybe it will be better to go Russia starts technologically backwards. So if we can get education, then maybe could do advanced research until we catch us up. I've also changed my mind a little bit, like these colonial officers, like it could be good when there is a lot of unrecognized powers to conquer, and then you maybe switch it to something else. This makes nationalization cheap. I never really played the nationalization game, but maybe this could be something like, if you just look like what would historically Russia do, they would definitely go for like police coordination. The KGB during the Soviet Union, the FSB now, they are like well known for being the most sophisticated intelligence services. So so this one like police coordination would definitely be something that fits. And then also militarized industry, like they don't have much civilian industry in Russia, but a military industry that has been built up like both historically with the Tsars and then Soviet Union with their kind of 5-year plans and so, and also now today with Putin, they are like building up the military industrial complex a lot. So yeah, that's a little bit how I think about this one. I will read this The Great Game path here also soon. But basically we will work to try to get these ones into our sphere. And some countries like Sweden and maybe Greece, it's good to get because the Europeans is expensive to conquer infamy wise. So it's good to get them into your sphere diplomatically, and these the non-Europeans you can basically conquer. So we have 206 battalions. That's more what we need, but we want to have them as like a deterrence force. So the British Empire or someone else does not try to attack us. But Pre 1 will be to improve the economy. Here we can look at the market of the goods. We should do some like trading and authority and bureaucracy and like that. Basically, yeah, you want to industrialize, and as you probably know, like tools, iron, and cloth is key for industrialization. Because, as you probably know, we kind of want to go to this one, and then they need tools. Actually, they need less cloth, but they need some cloth and lumber, and actually less lumber, and then iron. So this would be good. But as you can see here, we don't have enough qualifications to staff it. So maybe in some way it might be better to build up the wooden construction industry first, and once we have been able to get some kind of a school system, we could change to next level. Something else that I really need to build, it's I don't think it says here, yeah, unrealized taxes 47.6. So this is because we are having a big lack of government administration buildings. So you can see here, like we would need to build a lot, and I mean a lot of this one. And here you can also see like Warszawa in Poland is not incorporated, but these places would need a lot of this. And we have the filing cabinet system, so which means that, yeah, it's every one of these, it gives 260 taxation capacity. Let's look at the tech also before we do anything. We are still lacking some we don't have a single tier 2 tech, and we are still lacking some tier 1 techs. So we have to do them first. Here are some important stuff, like this one, stock exchange is nice for the mappy, and we could change something else here. Banking is not needed so much right now. This one would be good for the authority, and also this influence stuff, so we can get school systems. And this one is not very important yet. So let's, what military tech are we lacking? Is Navy offense and defense. So let's go maybe this one and this one and this one and this one. And after this we are going to think what to reset. As I'm sure you know that you need to take every tech like in their tier before you start next tiers, otherwise you get a big penalty. We have weekly innovations 56, and we could have 52. So that means that it would be good to build at least, how much is that? It would be good to build 60 universities. And here we can see that the technology spread, it's like it basically we're as if you remember the France game, we had like all tier 1 and like quite a few of the tier 2 techs. We are technologically behind a lot here. So let's see if we can get an agitator. No one wants to join us right now. Let's also look at the air. This guy is always starting as a market liberal, and when he is 17 now, when his dad dies and he takes over, then he will try to push, he will try to liberalize the market, which would be good for us. Let's look here. He is a traditionalist, so he doesn't want to do anything like that. This guy is a moderate. And this guy is a traditionalist. He doesn't want to change anything. And this is this guy is a reformer. He would like cultural exclusion, compulsory primary school. He wants like a lot of stuff that we also want. So but yeah, you see the legitimacy would be super bad if we included him. So, but we're not oppressing him anymore, at least. So let's see here. What cities should we build up? We have 2 constructions in Ingria and in Moscow. I'm just gonna remove this one. It gives so little now, and I'm going to change this one here. And then we start to think about what states should we try to industrialize. Ingria and Moscow, because we have 2 of them here, would be good. I used to search by job seekers. It looks like Yaroslav has a lot of infrastructure. I like both POPs and infrastructure. That's kind of nice. I'm just gonna look here at Moscow again, how much infrastructure they have. They have built up all their infrastructure, so and they lack taxation capacity. This guy doesn't have any infrastructure left either. So no one of them is. There is not any point of building them up. So it's time to go for new places. So if we are doing Yaroslavl. What does they have? They have some iron and some lodging camps. It's not a particularly good state actually. Other places would be nice. Maybe let's just look at the states like first. What kind of resources do they have? This one has lumber, coal and iron. Let's first look maybe at the modifiers. Like here in Ukraine here is like the Dnieper River, and it has a black soil that's good for, and also steppes, so it's like these places have good for ranches in the steppes, and the Dnieper River in Ukraine gives them a lot of both mappy and infrastructure. That's good, I think. Plus 5% market price impact. I guess that's positive. Let's look. Yeah, so that's a nice one actually. And let's see what more we have here. The Russian taiga forest, it gives lodging industry throughput. So logging camps is good to build here. We also have the Volga River here. It also gives and lodging industry is used for the first step of the construction sectors. It would be good to build up the places where you both have like Volga and Russian taiga. Let's just look what more features we have here. Here we have the military shipyards here in Ingria, and okay, so let's see where do we both have Volga and this one. So it's these two, Tver, Yaroslavl and Nizhny Novgorod. Let's see how they are. They both have a lot of lumber caps, some iron mines, lot of lumber caps, some iron mines, lot of lumber camp, and some coal mines. So let's do these three first. So let's go here to the decrease. No, I want to do these ones. The promote social mobility is good now when you don't have any school systems. That means that your people can work in a better job. But let's go for this one here, and let's see if there's any place that needs like what's called a if there's any place that doesn't have education to all their people. And then you can see it here, like if you try to build a university, that Ingria are lacking. Ingria is the only one that's lacking qualifications right now. Let's also see what are our most developed cities right now. I used to see that if I go to the urban center and see like Ingria level 9, Moscow level 6, Kiev is level 4. So let's go and encourage manufacturing here. Then we have a few left. Ingrid needed this qualification thing, and I guess we could try to improve 2 more provinces here. What about Kiev? They don't have so much infrastructure. Yeah, maybe let's try to build up Odessa and Kiev also, so we get some like a balanced. So this could be a bit more of agricultural cities. Yep. And let's go for some of these. No. All of them are within industries, that's correct. So okay, let's do some lodging camps then. Do some paper here. That could be good for the start. So we have done all this. I'm going to take a break here, and then next episode we look more at the diplomacy situation, and so. Thanks for watching us. Next episode we'll also start the game here.